Hello, everybody. Today is our normal kids club meeting. Should have been an hour ago over at Legg Lake, but because of the virus, this is the best I can do. So, some of you were asking about having a meeting. So, I thought we would do that. And if you had some questions, the kids, about beginning fishing, stuff that we would cover at the kids club meeting normally at Legg Lake, I'd love to help you with them. So you just got to answer this. There's about 10 of you guys on here now. Cool. See, what were some of the things that they wanted to talk about that I got asked about? So, as you know, we're not going to have a kids club meeting this month, today. It looks like we may not have a kids club meeting for May, just depending on what happens. If they open up, the regulations and we're all allowed to leave our homes and stuff. April. It's my dog. So we'll see what's going to happen. But for today, for April, I just want to go over some of the basic stuff and things that we've talked about in the past. So we use specific rods and reels at our kids club because certain rods and reels are much easier to use. So this is a traditional spinning rod. Turn it into my ceiling fan. Let me break this in half, make it easier to handle. Okay, so this is a spinning rod and reel. And this is what's called a spinning reel with an open face like this. There's a handle. And this is how you do it. This is how most people learn how to fish using gear like this. It's pretty simple. But if you've never, ever been fishing before, and most of you that attend our kids club meetings have never fished before, this is too tough, too hard for you to do. So what we use at our kids club meeting are these. They're called spin casts. And what's sweet about these is all you do is you press this button here. And when you press the button, nothing's going to happen. But the second you let go of the button, then the line goes flying off the reel. So these are really easy for first timers. If there's any parents out there that are thinking about getting their kid their very first rod and reel, this is what I would recommend. And there's several brands that make them. So I would look at those. But you can get them anywhere from $25 up to probably $90. So you don't need to spend a lot of money. But this one is made by Shakespeare. But there's other ones. We use the Quantum ones, and we have some other ones too. So something like this. This is your beginner outfit that you want to do. You want something that's very, very simple to use, easy to use, and you just press the button, let it go, and as you swing it, the line's going to fly out. And you don't have to worry about lots of drag and stuff because you're fishing this. You're fishing for little bluegill, rainbow trout, catfish, stuff like that. So it's not like you're tuna fishing. As you get better and you have more experience, then you're going to move up to a spinning reel. But, if it takes a year to get to there, it's fine. 2 years, whatever it is, whatever you're comfortable with, then you get to this. And this is a lot more versatile. And then as you get more experience and years later and you get older, something like this, a baitcaster. And then you can start playing around with the specialty lines. This is Spectra, doesn't stretch. And I wouldn't put Spectra on the spin cast. I wouldn't put that on here. But you could put Spectra on a spinning reel if you wanted to. But just starting out, just use monofilament, something basic. You don't need to put anything elaborate on there, nothing fancy. And when we fish, we just use snelled hooks. And this is what's called a snelled hook, where the hook is here. It's tied onto a line, a leader. This is a large one. This is what we use maybe surf fishing, but at the kids club meeting, we're going to use something a lot smaller, something like a size, I don't know, 8 or something like that, something a lot smaller. What's funny about fish hooks, the bigger the number, the smaller the hook. So like a size 1 and is a lot bigger hook than a size 14 or 12. So let me see if I can find this for you. There it goes. All right, so this is a snelled hook. And that's a snell knot there on the hook. That's why it's called a snell hook. And it has a little loop there. So you would just connect this to a swivel. I'll probably get some swivels here. Here's a swivel. Okay, not this size of a swivel, because this is just for demonstration. But the way you would fish it is you would just slide it on. And this is the only time where a swivel is kind of okay to use. So you have your swivel, your hook. Okay, this is a big hook. This is a size 2 hook. For Legg Lake, for what we do for the bluegill, you want to use like a size 10, a size 8 hook, much smaller. And the swivel would be way smaller. Swivel would probably be about the size of this loop here. Tiny swivel compared to this monster swivel. And then on top of that, you're going to use a little bobber like this. So it's a bobber, the swivel, and the hook. And because the swivel weighs enough, you don't need to put a weight on there. And just put the bobber there. And you're going to toss that out in the water. And you want to toss it close to shore, because you don't want to go too far out of the middle of the lake, because in the middle of the lake are the bigger fish, the bass, stuff like that. And those things will go ahead and they will eat all the bluegill. So the bluegill will be hiding closer to the bank. So like if this was the bank, the bluegill might be underneath here because they just want to hide, they don't want to get eaten by the big bass. So they'll just hide here and wait for things to come out. This could be a rock, a bank, something like that. They're going to be close to shore, hiding and looking for opportunities. So you get that food out there, you get your worm there, and then all of a sudden you see your bobber moving. Okay. The only reason the bobber is moving is because a fish has your worm and that hook in its mouth. So as the fish is moving with that worm and your line, your bobber's moving. Don't do anything at that point. Wait till the bobber goes down under the water, and then you want to lift the rod up. You don't have to set the hook really hard, just gently, and that'll put the hook into the fish. Then you can bring it in, and then we can release it. So that's what we do. So alrighty, so that's some of the basic stuff. So guys, today I'm just talking to the kids. So no political stuff. Let's just talk to the kids about fishing. The kids have normally been to our kids club meeting at Legg Lake. And if none of you have ever been to a kids club meeting, it's always held on this day, the third Saturday of every month. And you can, join us on that. Alrighty. What else we got going on here? So someone's asking, um, so Anthony's asking, how do you volunteer for the kids club? All you do is call the office, which we're only open on Thursdays right now. But you can call our office at this number. I'll post it here. Call our office at that number, and then you can arrange to volunteer. To volunteer, you need to get fingerprinted and live scanned. It's normally like a $70 fee, but we cover it for you, and we have a couple of places you can go and have that done, which I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon until this gets done, after this virus is done. Alrighty. But those of you, the kids are trying to practice fishing, you don't necessarily have to go to a lake. You can go in your backyard with your rod and reel and just practice casting. We show you the different ways to cast overhead, and then also the pitch underhand. And the pitch underhand is the one you should really practice a lot, especially at the lakes. The fishing we do for the bluegill, just learn how to pitch your line underhand and get that close to the fish, and that would work out really good. Alrighty. See what are some of the safety things I wanted to remind you guys about. And we always talk about the kids club meeting is be very careful when you're walking around with your rod and reel. You always want to hold it like here in the center, straight up. You don't want to. It's not a sword. You don't want to be hitting people with it. So hold it straight up like that, and that way you don't hurt anybody. And when you're getting ready to cast, always, always, always look behind you. When I was really young, I was over at Legg Lake with my neighborhood friend, and we'd ridden our bikes over there. And I was down on my knees pinning on a worm, and he didn't look behind him, and he casted a big hook like this. So we're fishing for a big catfish, and that hook went right next to my eye. I almost lost my eyeball, but luckily it didn't go quite that far. So that's why it's super, super important that you do that. That you always look behind you. Yes, guy. It doesn't matter if you've done live scan in the past. That information is not shared with any other agencies. So you have to go get live scanned again for Alley County Parks, because they will check you out and not let you show up and volunteer and work with the kids until you're in their system. Okay. Okay. Celia is asking, do you take open parties to look for tuna in San Diego? For the TV show, we do. In the TV show, we do that. But right now, we're talking about the kids club meeting. But for the TV show, you can just go to my website, and we have a list there of all our trips for the year. And hopefully, all those trips are gonna take place. Our first trip for first weekend in May has already been postponed, and we're looking to see what date we can reschedule that. But nobody really knows yet what's going to happen. But if you're Celia, if you're looking for a fishing trip to come join me that we filmed for the TV show, here's a link here that you can use, and you can do that. So you can see all our trips there. And we have everything from a half-day local trip, which would be great for the kids to come on. Half-day trip that leaves like 6 p.m. and we're back in around 11 p.m. And then we also have, everything up to tuna trips, like 2 and 3 day tuna trips. I think we have 1 or 2 one-day tuna trips too. And we should be adding some more trips once this is all done, once this virus is over. See, Tyler says, last time he caught a bluegill, he was 10 years old at El Dorado Park. Yep. Yeah, and they like both mealworms and redworms. Yeah, so that's pretty good. Skywatch, yes, the boat ramps are open. I think they're still open today. I was down there a couple days ago, and the boat ramps were open. The city didn't have any plans on closing them, from what I heard. But Davies boat ramp right next to the bridge there off Second Street is open, and I think the other one on South Shore next to Queen Mary is also open. So if you have a boat, you can take your boat out. So I don't know about the fishing national emergency thing, because in San Diego there's no chance of launching a boat, and even if you have your boat on the in a dock in a slip, it doesn't sound like they're letting any boats leave out of San Diego to go fishing. I know in San Diego there's no surf fishing. As far like in the bay, you can't fish Mission Bay, San Diego Bay. You can't even be on a kayak or paddleboard or anything in San Diego. So no. Yeah, so that's all closed. So Celia says Cabrillo's closed, and that's possible because that's part of Los Angeles, and the mayor of Los Angeles is clamping down on everything, closing everything. So I don't know if it's true, but I think I heard Echo Park and Lincoln Park were closed to fishing right now. Legg Lake is open. I talked to the people over at Legg Lake, Laura, and some of the people we work with that help us with our kids club. And Legg Lake is open, and so that's not a problem. And then I don't know if you guys heard, but our clubhouse got broken into at Legg Lake, and we had several $1,000s worth of stuff stolen. So if any of your parents can help us with a little donation, um, there's a link to our website for dancekids.com, dancekids.org, our youth foundation website. So there's a place where you can make a donation. But we had a bunch of stuff stolen. So if you can help us, that would be great. So Tyler's asking if he went fishing off Coronado Islands or Colonet and caught us. No, anything that's legal size in the United States, and you catch it and it's illegal, and like if you catch a 8 ounce calico bass and you try to bring it home from Mexico from Coronados or Colonet, and you get off the boat in San Diego, you're gonna get a ticket because it doesn't matter where you caught it. If it isn't legal in the United States, you're still in possession of a fish that isn't legal, and it's a big ticket. So don't do that. How can I get my wife to let me go fishing? Hmm. Maybe bring her with you. I don't know. I'm not married, so I don't have those problems. I just go fishing. My dog doesn't care, so I go fishing. So Andrew's asking about gates. What gates are you asking about? Andrew, I don't understand what your gate question is. What gates you think are a problem? Hey, Robert. So Robert wants to know, when do you use split shot? Um, I use split shot when I'm ocean fishing for opali, and if you were going to tie a hook straight on to your line and not use a swivel, then a little piece of split shot would work out good for the bluegill fishing with your bobber. So that would be a good time. I guess you're not driving a truck today. Andrew, the gates for the youth group. I still don't understand it. Oh, put gates around the clubhouse? No, that's not going to happen. They're not going to put any gates around the clubhouse. No, they're not going to. Yeah, they're not going to put gates around the clubhouse. It's hard enough to get the stuff that we get. It has a good door on there, so hopefully we'll be okay now. Yeah, yeah. There's no windows to get in, Andrew. That building has no windows. It used to have um, like fold up windows when it was a concession stand way back in the day when I was a kid. But they fill those all up with bricks now, so there are no windows for people to break in. So, oh, Robert is driving. Are you driving today? Because you drive far. Okay. So, any more fishing questions? Are you guys holding up being stuck indoors? Thank you, Andrew. I will talk to the county and see if there's something we could do. Maybe put a roll up door by the front door, but I don't think they would allow that. The county has all kinds of rules and has to be a certain contractor and all kinds of stuff. So Robert's asking, when do you use colored beads or glow in the dark beads? That's a good question. When do you use the beads, Robert? The only time I really use a bead is on a Carolina rig to keep the knot from getting damaged. But and then glow in the dark, maybe if you're gonna rockfish down deep. But that's the only time I would think about it. You know, when you're fishing down deep water. Okay, so Anthony's talking about yesterday. In case you guys don't know, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m., I'm doing these more of an adult one to talk about all types of different fishing. Today I was trying to talk about the kids, but there aren't that many kids here, I guess. I don't know. So I was talking about using an umbrella net to catch smelt. Hey, James. And so Anthony's asking, how deep do you put the umbrella net? Well, the answer is you're going to see the smelt. They're going to be really close to the surface. So you take your umbrella net, you drop it down, and you want to just barely be able to see it. Just deep enough so you can barely see it. And then you put ice on ice. You put bread on top of it. And then after you put the bread on top of it, the smelt will come up and start to eat it. You slowly bring the net up so you can see the net here and the smelt there. And you put a little bit more bread. And when the smelt are really concentrated on the bread, then you bring the net up really fast. And that's how you catch them. But you're not going to be guessing where the smelt are. You're going to see them the whole time. They're right there up on the surface. Skywatch, no, cast nets are not legal in California. I don't know why they sell them in California, because I see them at different fishing tackle stores, but they are definitely illegal. You cannot use a cast net in California. It's a huge, huge fine. Yeah, well, I've never tried use. I mean, that's a good idea. I think you could use glow in the dark beads for rock fishing. You know, if you can only use two hooks, so you can make a two hook canyon and put some beads in there. And you're probably going to want to put a couple of beads and then something metal. I don't know if it's going to be like a split shot or a small egg sinker in there, so it'll click, so it'll make a little bit of noise too. But that would probably work. So you want to use that. Um, you could try that. I've never tried that. And glow in the dark beads for rock fishing probably would work. Okay, Adventure Channel's asking. So kids and I fish beach twice a week and 2 weeks. Okay, so Venture's saying that when he goes surf fishing, he's just been catching little sharks. So when you tell me that you're going surf fishing and you're fishing a sandy beach, that tells me that you're only catching sharks and bat rays and stuff, that you're casting too far out. When you go surf fishing to catch corbina, halibut, barred surf perch, you don't want to cast far out. You want to cast where all the waves are breaking, that white water. If you cast your line past that, that's where you're going to catch the sharks. You want to fish in close. You want to, I've hooked fish right next to my feet, when I'm walking out in the water. So you want to fish up, you want to fish right in that white water where the waves are breaking, because as the waves break, all the stuff, the worms and the ghost shrimp and the sand crabs, all that stuff gets kicked loose by those little waves, and that's where the fish are eating. And the surf perch, the corbina and the perch, will have their heads down like this, and they'll be licking in the sand for things to eat. So that's why you don't want to cast that far. If you cast too far with like squid, all you're going to catch is bat rays and sand sharks. Anthony, is the website up and running? Yes, you can go to our website and buy anything you want. If it's something we have in stock, like our B52s and our bucktail jigs and metal jigs, then your order will go out on Thursday. We're just going in one day a week right now, going in on Thursdays to send out all the orders. And then I'm going in on Mondays to send the TV shows to the TV networks and TV stations. But Thursday is the only day that we're there to handle all the orders. Okay. Tyler, if I caught some fish on a boat out of San Diego to dock and then went to Mexico. Yeah, they will count whatever fish you walk off the boat with. So let's say that you're going to go fish in Mexico, going to the Coronados. And the boat stops at the bait dock, bait bar to pick up bait. If you drop your line in right there and you catch a couple of bass, say you catch 2 calico bass and they're legal, and you keep them, that's part of your 5 fish limit. It doesn't 5 bass limit. So it doesn't matter where you catch them. It's when you leave the boat. Once you leave the boat and step on land, that's your possession of fish. And whatever possession you have in fish, if it's, if they're legal sized fish, it's a number of fish. If they're not legal sized fish, that's another fine. So yeah, so you want to, they all count. Doesn't matter where you catch them. So Anthony's asking, what size weight do I use in the surf? I use maybe a 1/2 ounce, 3/4 ounce egg sinker. I don't know if you guys know what an egg sinker looks like. I think I might have one in here. It looks like an egg. So this is larger. This is like a 1 ounce. But this is an egg sinker. It's got the little hole there for your line to go through. Like that. That's it. Yeah, that's a 1 ounce right there. That's a good guess. So probably like a 3/4 ounce or a 1/2 ounce, depending on how far out you want to go. And you can also use bucktails. I know guys that use bucktails and catch halibut and perch, barred surf perch, and this is a B52 bucktail. If you want to put a strip of squid on it, you could. But they just cast it out and bounce it in the surf, and they do good on them. You can find those on our website. All right. Hopefully that helps you. So Adventure says, high or low tide, best for fishing, showed up during the low tide, amazing, even though. Yeah, it's always good if you're going to fish an area, you can be there both high and low tide, and not necessarily the same day, but if you could walk that area at low tide, it'll give you a good idea, make a mental picture of where those spots are, where those holes are, where the fish might be holding and hiding. Because that's what they're going to do. They're going to hide in those little holes for things to swim by and eat them. But I normally like to fish incoming tides. So not at high tide, not at low tide, but after low tide and the tide's coming up. Because every wave that hits, it's kicking over fresh stuff. And when the tide's going out and the wave hits, it's kicking up a little bit of stuff, but it's stuff that's already been underwater for a long time. So I like the high tide where it's kicking up fresh stuff all the time. Christian, been trying to halibut, haven't had any luck. So you're fishing at Alamitos Bay. There's a lot of great places. I mean, we catch them sometimes inside the breakwater, over by Nachos, by the bait receiver. The oil islands out there, you can get them. In close to the beaches like Cherry Beach. One of the biggest ones we've ever hooked was over 20 pounds, 25 pounds inside the harbor there. That's where we got it. There's some wrecks you can see on the charts that are inside the harbor. I would fish close to the wrecks. And then if you want to go outside the breakwater, along the breakwater, or just before the horseshoe kelp, or if you want to go farther down to Huntington Beach by Huntington Flats, those are all good sandy spots for halibut. And you just have to put in your time. You don't want to be drifting when there's no wind, and you don't want to be drifting when there's too much wind. And if you get over 10 knots of wind, you're going to drift too fast. And if you have no wind, you're not going to move at all. So you need something like 5 to 8 knots of wind to push you around a little bit. And then I like to use a reverse dropper loop rig. And what that means is you use a dropper loop rig, but in the loop, you put your sinker and then a leader, and then you have your hook. So it's going dangling a little bit above it. So it works good. Alrighty. So Skywatch is asking, is there a small boat limit of fish. If I have 4 people on the boat, yeah. If you have 4 people on the boat, they better all have fishing licenses. Because if you're the only one with the fishing license out of the 4 people, then only you can have a limit of fish. But if all 4 have a fishing license, you can have 4 limits of fish on the boat. So that works out fine. Tyler's asking, do mackerel, smelt, and sardines? I don't think they have a limit. Because most mackerel we catch for bait. I don't know about smelt. I think smelt's considered bait fish too. But I would just go to the Fish and Wildlife website and check out their limits and size limits and number of fish in possession to make sure. Because I'm not sure about smelt, but mackerel, you don't have to worry about it. Pretty sure you could have 100 mackerel. You're not breaking any laws. Is crab net for sale? I guess you can get crab nets on websites. We don't sell them on our website, but um, they're there. Skywatch says he caught a sargo. I've been seeing a lot of sargo by my boat, but I haven't fished for them. Maybe I should try it. I've seen some big sargo when I was down there yesterday. I'm gonna post a little video for you guys this weekend of me catching some more opali. Took my boat. Went down to my boat yesterday to go do a little bit of work on it and threw out some lines and caught a bunch of barred perch, not barred perch, opali. So that was fun. Yeah, if you get on a good spot of rockfish, it's pretty easy to get a limit. I mean, before this thing happened, I was doing private charters just local out of Long Beach, and we were only doing half day trips. And so the only people only had like 5 hours, and we were still able to run out there, get them a limit of rockfish, and get back in the 5 hours. So that's pretty good. So Tyler wants to know if he can use a lobster hoop net to fish for crabs. Yeah, the way I understand the law, but you might want to find out for sure. You can use a lobster hoop net for crabs. The problem is if you have a lobster in it and you bring it into your boat to let it go, and Fish and Wildlife is watching you, you get a ticket because now it's possession. It's in your boat. If you bring the hoop net up to the boat and you take the lobster out and let it go right away, you won't get in trouble. But long as you're only keeping the crabs, so I'm pretty sure the stone crabs, the rock crabs are legal year round. You might want to check them. I know Dungeness has a season, but I don't think stone and rock crabs have a season, and that's what we have down here in Southern California. So Adventure is asking, do you sell the shirt I'm wearing? Yes, I do. You can find it on my website. Let me see if I can find a link for you guys for that. I get that question a lot. It's on my website in the shop. It's under Dan's Products. And that's where you'll find my t-shirts and hats and stuff like that. And we have the old retro style shirt there too. So we have a couple of different styles of shirts. We have long sleeve, short sleeve, all that stuff there. We have some girls' pink shirts. I think we have one jacket too. So my Icy Dead Fish shirts. So this is a link if you wanted to order one of those t-shirts. Um, we should have most sizes in. There might be one or two sizes that we're out of right now, but we should have most sizes in right now. And you can order it. No, we don't. On my website, we don't sell any of the crab nets or any nets like that. We basically just have our bucktails, magic metal jigs, and we have some links to some reels that I use all the time on the TV show that people want to see and buy. So we have that kind of stuff there. But most of the stuff is my clothing, the bucktails, magic metal jigs, and magic metal lights. And this is like a magic metal jig that we have on the website. And we have the bucktails, which I use all the time. Do really good with them. Lots of different sizes. So Skywatch says he was catching lots of vermilions. If you guys don't know what a vermilion is, it's a basically a red snapper is what we call them. But they're super delicious. And it looks like he caught some picachios too, which are salmon grouper. But the red snapper is the one you want to eat. Those are delicious. If you've never eaten those, you love them. You can do so much with them. I'm going to probably film some cooking segments here next week at my house since we can't go to any restaurants to film. So we're probably going to do that here. Trying to figure out what I want to cook up. And probably because it's going to be here at the house, make it simple. And I'm not going to have any help to do it. I'll probably just do like a ceviche dish, something like that. Something simple and easy to do. Tyler wants to know what my favorite galley segments are. I mean, I like we have a galley segment with white sea bass. I like that, or lobster, because I get to taste them all and eat them if I want. I love when we do the ones at sushi bars. I like watching those guys work. They're like artists, the way they cut the fish up and put it all together and make the rolls and sashimi and stuff. And then I get to sample it. That's the best part of my job. I get to sample the cooking segments. So it's pretty cool. But I'm going to be doing some cooking here at my house since we have like another month of this lockdown. And once it opens up, the restaurants aren't going to let us come in and film with them for a while. They're all going to be in recovery mode, trying to get back on their feet. I was talking to a friend of mine who has a restaurant in Long Beach, and he says even with all the orders to go, that they're losing a lot of money. So nobody really knows how long they're going to be able to hold on. I guess we will find out. It's pretty ugly. Okay, Brett, that's a good idea. We could do some, once this is over and they wouldn't have a heart attack with me and a film crew on my back of my boat, we could do some segments like that at the barbecue. I have a barbecue for my boat and we could barbecue some fish like that. That'd be fine. Yeah, Anthony's reminding you guys not to forget to subscribe and like the videos. So please do that. I want to get to 50,000 subscribers. I'm a long ways from there. So please help me. I'm almost at 17, but help me get to 50,000 subscribers. That would be nice to have that many people following me. I could talk to them. Kristen wants to know how often do we have the bottom of the boat clean? Every month. Every month it's done. It's just a service. I just pay them. It's not very cheap because you have to get rid of all the zincs too every few months, and that gets expensive. But it's something you have to do to maintain your boat. If you have the boat on the trailer, you don't have to worry about that because you're gonna pull it out every time. But um, my big boat is in the water 24/7, so I have to have the bottom cleaned and keep things from growing on it. Yeah, Skywatch. Next time you catch a fish like a yellowtail or something like that, and you're gonna have sashimi, don't do it on the boat. You want to freeze all that fish at least one night because there's a lot of parasites and stuff in the fish, tuna, yellowtail, all that stuff. Especially fish that go fresh in salt water like salmon and stripers. So you really want to take that fish, throw in the freezer, let it freeze overnight, get nice and hard, kill everything that's in it, then put in the refrigerator, and then the next day go ahead and have it for sashimi. But try to kill everything in it first. Yeah, it doesn't matter how big of a piece you have. There's parasites in that stuff. So you got to kill it. You got to kill it all. Kill the parasites so you don't get sick. A bunch of people get sick every year in the Bay Area because there's so many uh, stripers that go from the ocean um, up the rivers of freshwater, and they have tons and tons of parasites. And people will take those stripers and sashimi them when they get home, and then they're in the hospital with parasites and really sick. So it's really important that you guys freeze them, and then go ahead and do that. There's Robert. He says he's been living on off his freezer of fish, done some smoking and fried bluefin from the December trip. Yeah, Robert was with us on a trip in December. This was 2 days before Christmas, 3 days before Christmas, December 22nd. I chartered the Tomahawk. We left out of San Diego and went tuna fishing. And the skipper was about ready to give up, telling us to switch over to our rock fishing gear. And about 15 minutes later, he found a massive school of tuna, and we limited out the boat. And it's hard to believe December, 3 days, 2 days before Christmas, and we had limits of bluefin tuna. It was an unbelievable trip. But yeah, now I have a bunch of fish here too. I'm going to start defrosting and start going through my freezer because we got another month of this, so might as well start eating some of the fish. It's a good idea. So Paul's asking, what's my preferred plastic? So if I'm fishing for lingcod and I'm using a 6 ounce B52 bucktail for lingcod, double A makes a large single tail grub. I don't have one here. Maybe I'll bring one on Monday to show you guys. It's a big single tail grub. It comes out to about here, and that's what I use for lingcod. Uh, Once in a while on the smaller ones, I'll put a little single tail grub on here, but lots of times I just put a strip of squid for the sculpin and the rockfish. But sometimes when you get into the sculpin and you see some bigger fish around, just adding a little single tail grub to that bucktail will get you the bigger sculpin. So if you're catching a lot of shorts on like a half ounce like this, if you move up to a 1 ounce and add a little single tail grub and then a strip of squid, you tend to catch the bigger fish and you don't get any shorts. So double A grubs work out really good. Raw shrimp for for sheephead is the best bait. If you want to catch a sheephead, use shrimp, not cooked shrimp, raw shrimp. Doesn't have to use the whole shrimp, just a piece of shrimp. And they seem to know what it smells like and looks like because sheephead are all over um, shrimp. I mean, I got guys that go on my Catalina trips that bring shrimp with them just so they can try to catch jackpot. And lots of times they get jackpot. If we don't get any white sea bass or yellowtail on the boat, usually the jackpot fish is a sheephead, and they usually catch it on shrimp. So if you really want to catch a sheephead, use shrimp. Coffee. Any other questions, guys? I think most of my kids are gone. Probably don't want to talk to an old guy. So bobbers for bluegill fishing, they work out really good. And for rigging for the bluegill, just use a snelled hook like this with the swivel. Not this big, a tiny swivel. And not a hook like this, but a small hook like a size 8 or 10, something like that. And off to your bobber and you'll be all set. And they sell these hooks already snelled, so it'll make it easy for you guys, especially those of you that don't know how to fish that much for the bluegill fishing stuff. Don't use those rigs for ocean fishing unless you're going to surf fish, then it's okay. But to go tuna fish or anything like that, don't do that. Hello, David. Christian, when you fish the horseshoe, do you? Yeah, I always anchor, Christian. I always anchor because, um, you know, the horseshoe, a lot of these spots, it's all sand and then there's structure. Could be a reef, a rock, a wreck like Isers, where there's lots of man-made stuff put down there. Um, there's train cars, there's trolley cars, there's parts of bridges. So I always anchor, and because you want to be right, you want to be on top of the structure, but you want to be close enough that when you cast your line, it goes back toward the structure. And if you drift, you're just going to go right over it really quick, and you're not going to get much chance to catch the fish. So I like to anchor up on there. We've got some spots with the horseshoe where we catch 50 bass. We don't keep them, just let them go. But it's if you were drifting, you might catch 2, 3. But because we're anchored and we can chum a little bit, we get all those fish to come around. What's my personal best largemouth bass? It was over 8 pounds. It wasn't 10. I want to say it was like 8.5, maybe 9. It's like castaic on a live crawdad. My personal calico bass, I've got 2 over 10. 2, one at Guadalupe and one at Cedros. I think it was Cedros, yeah. So that was pretty good. What else? Well, I can't imagine any charter captains are on drugs because all of us that are charter captains are on a random drug testing program put on by Coast Guard. So we all have to go get checked occasionally. Once they send you a notice that you need to go, you have to show up within 24 hours and go get tested. So, I don't believe that. David, what are good areas in Marina Del Rey? If you have a private boat and you're not sure um, uh, where to go fish the man-made reefs. I mean, those are easy identified on all the charts, and there's a couple of them right there outside of Marina Del Rey. Those normally hold a lot of sand bass, sculpin, and some calicos. And on the sides of them, if you drift, you can probably catch some halibut and stuff too. So I would start there. And there's a canyon off Redondo Beach. If you want to catch rockfish, it's a great spot to do that. So you could do that too. Have I ever caught spotted bay bass? Yes, probably thousands of them. I caught three yesterday. I caught three yesterday on green peas. I wasn't even trying to catch them. I was trying to catch opali. Hey, we have somebody here from France. What part of France are you at? I usually go to Cannes every year for a convention, and I like to go to Paris. Fly into Paris, switch planes, and then fly down to go to France. I mean, to go down to Cannes for my convention. From Paris, cool. We got to meet up sometime. Hopefully, I will be back in Paris in October. So I know I see the signs all the times when I'm in Paris that they don't allow any fishing right there, like by Notre Dame and all that, by the Louvre, that river that flows through there. And there's a lot of water there, lots of boats. I'm just wondering, how far do you guys have to go fishing, and what do you fish for? How did you find out about my show? I mean, I know I was on Sky TV in Europe with the TV show I did in Qatar, but how did you find me? How did you find me in Paris? That's interesting. Was it just YouTube? I don't know. I had a family come from Russia one time to come fish with me. They were coming out here. The kids were in a jiu-jitsu competition and and they signed up to fish with me out of here in Long Beach. They were here in LA for a competition to come fishing. That's the farthest someone's come, Russia. Come fish with me. That's pretty cool. All right, so you found me on Roku and on YouTube. Cool. Please subscribe here on my YouTube, and please tell your friends in France, in Paris, about my channel. I would love to have more followers from Europe. I also have some programs on a sports channel in out of London. I got to find out the name of that sports channel. I forgot about it, but I do have. I'm on a sports channel in London. I wish my TV show was on in France. That'd be cool. I know they have a fishing hunting channel in France, but I haven't had any luck getting on there. Adventure Channel is asking, do my children, I have 4 under 16. Are they allowed 2 poles each? Sometimes my daughter will. Um, that's a good question. I'm pretty sure they're allowed 2 poles each. But I would probably check Fish and Wildlife website. I don't know exactly about that, but I know with the license, you have to have a 2-rod stamp to fish with 2 rods. But I would check with Fish and Wildlife website to make sure. I would think it'd be okay, but I don't know. So Taylor's asking, can you go spearfishing with the mask and snorkel? And yeah, you can. It's, you know, a lot of people fish that way. Free diving, it's called, without a scuba gear. It's part of a big game fishing club in France. We share your channel with. Oh, thank you. That's nice to know. I have a bunch of new friends and new followers in France. Hello, France. This I got in Notre Dame. What else do I have in here from France? Oh, I have something else for you, my French friend, to see. So you can share this with all your friends. Sacrelure. That's a really pretty church, top of the hill there in Paris. So, been there many times. One of my favorite churches in the world. Notre Dame, too. They're really sad about what happened to it. Hopefully, they'll have it rebuilt soon. But if you guys want to see a pretty church on top of a hill, go there. And what's really neat at this church, too, they do a, what do you call it? Farmer's market a couple days a week. And really good cheeses, bread, lots of stuff there. So I would go to the farmer's market after Mass, take it back to the hotel room, have lots of nice treats. That's pretty cool. Well, I'm glad I have fans in France. Nice to know. What else we got going on here? Okay, Venture Channel. Yeah, if you could find out, let me know at the next Kids Club meeting. That'd be good. I don't know if we're going to have a Kids Club meeting in May. We'll have to see if the restrictions are lifted, what's going to happen. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, I heard that they had Mass in Notre Dame, but they didn't have it open to the public. So, yeah, I can't wait for that church to get open. And then I don't know how many of you guys are Catholic that are there, but in a Catholic Mass, there's certain prayers that happen, and it doesn't matter what church you're in. And I have been in churches all through Europe, France, Germany, everywhere, Prague, France, Paris, Cannes, Nice, all over. And it's really neat when you're in a church like Notre Dame that there's so many tourists at, and even this one too. Beautiful church up on the hill. And they get to a prayer like the Our Father. So a lot of us would know that prayer, but it's different when you're in a church like that. And there might be people from 12 different countries, and they're all saying the same exact prayer in 12 different languages. It's pretty neat. Like when I was at Notre Dame one time, and even like at Venice, and not Venice, in the Vatican for Easter Mass, you're there outside with 50,000 people, 100,000 people, and people are from all over the world, and they get to that Mass, they get to that prayer part, and the people all around you are saying the prayer in different languages. It's pretty cool. So, but hello, friends. That's cool. It's nice to know that I have friends and I have followers in Paris. Who knew? Who knew I had followers in Paris? Just made my day. Thank you. This whole virus thing has just been getting to me, having to close down my office, lay off people, cancel all my charters. It's been pretty brutal. I'm trying to get the boat, all updated and things I wanted to clean and fixed up. I did the oil change this week. So once it does open up, we can start charters. But who knows what the new normal is going to be? I mean, is the state going to allow boats like the Freelance to still go out with 80 people, 90 people? I don't think so. I don't know what the new normal is going to be. I don't know if a little boat like mine that I take 4 people, if they're going to tell me I can only take 2 now or 1 person. It's kind of scary. So who knows what's going to happen? So hopefully it all works out for the best. And hopefully we all survive. Because it's scary. I mean, there's so many people. So like 20% of LA County is without a job right now. And it's like that around the world. I'm sure my friend here in Paris is telling the same thing. The restaurants are closed. You look at pictures of Paris, nobody at the Eiffel Tower, nobody anywhere. It's pretty scary to see. So it's not just here, it's worldwide. Hopefully we all get through this. Yeah, that loan money's already gone. They already went through it all. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so Ricardo's asking about the Fish and Wildlife meeting they had this week. They didn't ban fishing. So that was a rumor that people were afraid of. They didn't do that. What they did is that they're delaying the trout opener. And that's all they're doing. And it's nothing that Fish and Wildlife really wanted to do. Like they didn't wake up that morning and say, we're going to postpone the trout opener to upset people. The only reason they're doing it is because the counties, from Bishop all the way up north to Tahoe, Inyo County, Mono County, Lake Gregory, I mean, not Lake Gregory, Lake Crawley, all those people were begging the state to please delay the trout opener because they didn't want, 100,000 people going up there. The campgrounds are closed. Most hotels are closed up there. They have a bunch of people that are already sick and they don't have that many hospital beds up there. So they're already taxed, as far as what they can serve people up there. I was personally getting emails from the city of Bishop, their Chamber of Commerce and Tourism. I've gotten emails from Crawley. And they're, when this first happened, a lot of people from here were driving up to Bishop to go trout fishing because Lone Pine, Bishop, that lower area is open all the time for fishing. And they were sending emails to people like me, media people, saying, please tell your people, do not come here. That we love you guys all, but right now, because of the virus, everything's locked up and we don't want anybody coming up because we have enough troubles here as it is. We don't need more people. So that's what that whole thing was. And, and they're really straight about saying, once this is over, we'll welcome you all back. We want you all back to come and visit us. But right now, please stay away. And that's why Fish and Wildlife did what they did. They voted in to give the power to the president of the Fish and Wildlife Commission, the right to close or postpone seasons. And it's not going to close it. There will be a trout season. It may not be till July, but there will be a trout season. So that's what that was all about. So I support them 100%. They're not trying to close any fishing, not banning saltwater fishing. The deal that's going on in San Diego is the local government. I'm not quite sure why they're not allowing anything. I mean, I understand they want to keep people inside, but people that have their own boats in a boat slip, I don't quite understand why they're not letting them go out. And same thing with the boat ramps. Like the boat ramps here are open, and different parts of the state, the boat ramps are closed. But right now, the boat ramps in Long Beach are open. Boat ramps in Los Angeles are closed. I don't know about Marina Del Rey if they're open or not, but that's just what's going on. All right, so enough of that. No, Tyler, it doesn't mean that trout fishing in Southern California will be closed. What it means is that the trout opener, and that's for everything north of Bishop, normally opens the end of April. It just means that that will be postponed. And I don't know if you've ever been up there, Tyler, but that trout opener at that trout opener at Lake Crawley would draw 50,000 people, 40,000 people. I mean, it'd be massive. It would be shoulder to shoulder around the shore where people could fish. And that's what they're trying to avoid. Even though it's a huge tradition for lots of people, they're just not going to let that happen right now. And that's because of the virus. So it's nothing that the state wanted to do, but it's what the counties and the Indian tribes are asking the state to do. So that's why it's being postponed. But yeah, if there's trout locally, you can catch them. I don't know how long they'll be around. It's going to be 80 degrees. So I don't know if there's any trout left, but you can catch them. Paul, is there any information about the Fred Hall show? The Fred Hall show was scheduled for Del Mar, had been postponed to Memorial Weekend, which is what the next to last weekend in May. I don't know if it's still on or not. I haven't been to their website lately. I would probably go there and check. So we'll see what happens. So I don't know if there's going to be a Fred Hall show in Del Mar. I hope there is. It'd be great. I'd love to be there and support them. The Halls have done great for the fishing industry and supporting everybody that they can. They've always been very, very nice to me. Mike Lum, their general manager, has been a great friend ever since I knew him at Turner's when he was working there. So some of the friends that you make in the fishing industry you have all your life. I've known Mike over 30 years. Probably close to 40 years. Because he was a sales clerk at Turner's Outdoorsman in West Covina before he ended up running the company, and then worked for Western Hoagie for a long time, and then from there went to the Fred Hall show. He's been there a long time. Good friend. Okay, well, we've been here over an hour. I should probably get to fixing up my garage. So, to my friends in France, hello, and thank you for following me. And it really surprises me to see I have friends in France. That's pretty cool. Hey, Henry. Henry won our raffle the other day. That's pretty cool. He's here today. Thanks. He says he's 70 and fishing makes him feel like a kid. Hey, Ernie. How you doing? So, okay. For the regular get together, let's talk fishing Monday, Wednesday, and Friday until this virus thing's over. And then after that, we'll probably do it one day a week. But Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 7 p.m. right here. Alrighty. And if you guys want to support me, there's lots of ways. You can download my app and watch my programs 24/7 anytime you want. Maybe that would be good for the people in France. You can download my app. It's only $1.99 a month, and you can cancel at any time. There's no what do you call it? There's no contracts or anything like that. And the first week or so is free. And if those of you that would like to support me a little bit more, I'm on Patreon. Oh, so Christian signed up on Patreon. Thank you. Yeah, so if you guys want to support me on Patreon, I could use the help there too. And we have a bunch of different levels on Patreon. It starts as cheap as $2 a month. So whatever you guys can do, I would greatly appreciate it. And that would be great. All right. And, our youth foundation got hit 3 weeks ago and we had stuff stolen. So if any of you guys can help out, that would, little donation to the youth foundation would be greatly appreciated. It's enough to deal with this virus. You have to worry about people breaking into your clubhouse and taking stuff from the kids. I don't know how people do that. We should all be working together to get through this and not be breaking in and stealing stuff. So we'll see. All right, guys. Thank you. Have a good weekend. Stay safe. Be indoors. France, hello. I'm just amazed. Somebody from Paris is here watching me, following me. And and like you said, on Roku, you can see we have a bunch of older episodes on Roku. You can watch there for free. We have some older episodes on my YouTube channel. But if you really want to see the episodes, good quality that you can watch on your big screen through an app, please download my app. And it's only $1.99 a month. And you can see really good, high quality videos of our TV show and commercial free, no ads in them, and help support me. It's only $1.99 a month. And the ones on my Vimeo app are all the newer episodes, the really nice episodes with drone footage, underwater footage. Anything you see on the older stuff, like Roku and here on YouTube, it's going to be older programs, but the most current programs and newer shows, you can only see those on our Vimeo channel. All right, guys, have a great weekend. Thank you, Paris. Everybody stay good, stay indoors. I'm going to go work on my garage, and then hopefully in the next week or two, I can share with you guys what my fishing room looks like. I have a room here at my house just for fishing tackle. I know you guys would like to see it, but I'm going to have to wait till I have some help to finish it off, but we'll show it to you guys soon. All right. Bye, everybody. See you Monday, 7 p.m.